What's up, what's going on guys? Migs with Polar Pro. Welcome back to a new and exciting video. It's great to see you guys back on the channel. Today we have the brand new Hero 7, which they claim is the gimbal killer. I think it's a stretch, but anyways, instead of doing a regular review of the camera, we're gonna put it up against the Mavic 2 Pro and see what kind of results we can get. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright, so what we got here is a 3D printed mount so we can put the Hero 7 on top of the Mavic 2. Shout out to our engineer Tyler for cooking this thing up. So we're gonna film with both cameras so we can compare the Hypersmooth feature to the gimbal and camera combo on the Mavic 2 and see if this Hypersmooth feature lives up to its hype. For our Hero 7 camera settings, GoPro suggests that we set our max ISO limits to 100, and that's what we got here. We're also gonna shoot a flat color profile to get the most flexibility when editing our footage. I'm also gonna slap an ND16 on to get our shutter speed to double our frame rate. Now for the Mavic 2 settings, we're gonna set the ISO to 100, similar to the Hero 7, and we're gonna use D-Log-M, which is the flat color profile. We're also gonna use an ND16, which is the same as the Hero 7. Then tracking so looking at these, I'm really impressed with the Hero 7's Hypersmooth on the skateboarding shots. There was obviously some bump due to me running when tracking Maddie, but the Hypersmooth feature does a great job on smoothing out the footage. This is another impressive one. As you can see, there was bump in the water as we were going pretty fast, but the footage still looks comparable to the Mavic 2. For the aerial tracking shot, this is where you can see a difference. There's no surprise that the Hero 7 shows a little more shake and bump than the Mavic 2 because the Mavic 2 has a gimbal that can compensate for being exposed to wind and speed. For our next test, we're gonna shoot some slow-mo wakeboarding to change up the pace of our video. We're gonna set it at 1080p, 120 frames per second on both cameras. So I'm gonna hop on a tube to get as close as possible to the action since the Hero 7 has such a wide field of view. To round out our perspective, we're also gonna shoot a second tracking shot with the Mavic 2. Then we're gonna take a quick look on how the two cameras compare. Cool, so looking back at the footage for the Hero 7, it's obviously up close and personal. You can definitely see close details to the slow motion of Maddie wakeboarding. You can see the water spraying from the wakeboard. The Mavic 2 Pro isn't as action-packed as the Hero 7 because it was further away and it couldn't get wet. So we're gonna head to Catalina Islands to meet up with our friend Prunella, which is actually a perfect opportunity to run our next test, the Hyperlapse. Sweet, so we're in Catalina Island. So the Hero 7 has a time-lapse feature called Time Warp. And in this mode, the Hero 7 allows you to move through the scene by taking photos at a set interval. Then it stitches those photos together to create a super smooth moving time-lapse. So on the Mavic 2, to get it to Hyperlapse mode, you have to click the controller icon on the bottom left corner, click Hyperlapse, and then press free mode. We like to use free mode because it gives us a lot of freedom and control when walking around town while the gimbal is being handheld. So looking back at both Hyperlapses, the main difference I see is that the Hero 7 has a wide field of view. The Hero 7 also seems to have more of a jerky and jittery background compared to the Mavic 2. Overall, the Hyperlapses on both cameras is really impressive. Obviously, the Mavic 2 takes the advantage because you can film hyperlapses on the ground and in the air. So for our final test, we're gonna rent some snorkeling gear and we're gonna shoot from underwater with the Hero 7 and in the air with the Mavic 2. Since the Mavic 2 can't go underwater, we're gonna hover it above Prunella and see if the footage is comparable to the Hero 7. As you can see from the test being in or around water, the two cameras aren't comparable because it caters to two different scenarios in this test. The Hero 7 is superior over the Mavic 2 because you can take it in the water. The Mavic 2, on the other hand, you could definitely get some great surface shots from the air, like whales, dolphins, or whatever's floating on the water. The only downside is obviously you can't get really close because if you get it wet, then the drone's gonna break. Well, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as we did filming this video. Obviously, I'm not gonna pick what camera is superior because they cater to two different types of shooting. The Hero7 is great for more action shots, while the Mavic 2 Pro is great for some aerial and cinematic shots. Is the Hero7 a gimbal killer? I don't think so, but it's great to know that the Hero7 has that Hypersmooth feature, which I'm definitely gonna use when I'm out shooting some action shots. Well, it's Mix from Polo Pro signing out. Now get off that screen, grab your camera, get out there and capture perfection. Peace.